Hi there. I did a Periscope broadcast last night. It was called The Power of Thought, but unfortunately it didn't auto save to my iPhone because I don't think there was enough memory on my iPhone. Anyway, I thought it was such an important subject. I thought I would just record a quick YouTube video of that particular subject on the power of thoughts. Now, what is a thought? So the first thing I thought would be good to go to the dictionary, and because we all, we all say a lot of words in our daily, language and daily interactions, but we don't give much thought as to what those words mean. And in the Wikipedia, it says that a thought can be referred to as an idea or ideas or arrangements of ideas that result from thinking and the act of producing thoughts. Now, the Merriam-Webster dictionary says that a thought is an idea, a plan, opinion, picture, etc. that is formed in your mind. Now, let's just look at that for 1 minute. Uh, now, this is something that I, once I started looking into this, and I'll explain a bit more why I started looking into this. Now, when we think of thoughts, do we think of thoughts as ideas or just something that we habitually do because we are human and because we have a brain and that's what we do, we think. Now I'll come back to that a bit more later, but this video is not just for traders. So I believe it will help anyone. Doesn't matter if you're a trader or not, it will help anyone, and you'll see as we progress why I believe that. Now, there are two basic forms or categories of thoughts. You've got wandering thoughts or controlled thoughts. Wandering thoughts are just thoughts that we habitually think. They just some of them just come to our mind, or some something might trigger them and we wander off and something we might see on TV and that might set us off thinking, or things like that. Or we have controlled or purposeful and focused thoughts. The other thing is thoughts, as we all know, can be positive and negative. Now we know, I think most of us know what a positive and a negative thought is. A positive thought is I can do this, or a negative thought is I can't do this, or a positive thought is I have done the best preparation I can. I've done all the research. Um, I'll now put my trade in. I'll put that in, and I've got all my stop losses set. I've got my profit levels and profit taking all sorted out as part of my trading plan. And I'll put the trade in, and I'm not going to compete with the market. I'll just flow with the markets. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out, and that's just part of the cost of doing business. But if I get a profit, I'll take the profit. I'll get that winning feeling. Even if it's just a small profit, I'll take it. I will not allow my my trade to go into the red because I want that winning feeling. Things like that. Or you might think, oh, the market's it's always against me. Every time I put a trade in, it always goes in the opposite direction, or things like that. Now, now, having said that, I also want to add a little angle to all of this. Not just talk about the great power of positive thoughts or things like that, or how great positive thoughts are and things like that. I think we all know that. But it's easy to say, think positively. It's easy to say those things, but putting it into practice is a different thing. Now, the angle I want to put on this is, which is not always discussed, or I don't see it, so prevalent in books or other teachings, is that thoughts are charged with power, or thoughts can be charged with power. You might have also, in the other videos, you might have heard me mention a book by Mark Douglas, In the Zone, and it's a great book, and he talks about there, which I won't go too much detail. That's a book to be read by itself, and I'm not going to add or take anything to it. But all I'm saying is that he mentioned, he talks a lot about the beliefs when we come to trading, and he says that we come with beliefs which are charged with a lot of we can come back. We can come to our trading endeavors with negatively charged beliefs, and one of the ways to neutralize those beliefs is by taking away that power, by neutralizing that power, by taking the charge out of that belief. Now, I'm not talking about beliefs here. I'm basically talking about thoughts. I suppose they can be interrelated, but I'm talking about thoughts that we habitually think every day, and of course which we also think during our trading, and that we can bring to our trading. Now, we know that thoughts can be either positive or negative, and thoughts can be also they can be charged. You might get a thought that's positive, and you say, I am going to have a great day today. I'm going to come into my trading routine today with a great positive attitude. I've done all my research. I've got my trading plan. I'm going to follow that. I've done my research, and I'm now ready to put this trade on. And I'm looking forward to having a great day of participation in the market today. Now, we can think thoughts along those lines, and we can charge those thoughts. We can charge any thought, either with positive or negative power. So thoughts are charged with power. They can be either charged positive, negative, or neutral. A neutral thought is when we think something, and we might think a thought that we think by ourselves, or we might get triggered thought if we read something or watch something on TV or on the internet or whatever. We can give that thought either positive or negative charge, or we can just basically give that thought no charge at all, which leaves it into a neutral state of charge. Now, having said that thoughts are charged with power, just depending on the intensity of that power that we give it. Some are charged to a higher degree, and some are charged to a lesser degree. Now, the question to ask is, how are our thoughts charged? How do we give the thoughts that we think the power? How do we give them that power? A negative thought, how do we give that negative thought power? A positive thought, how do we give that positive thought power? And the answer is that we give our thoughts, whether positive or negative, we give them power, or we can just leave them neutral by not giving them any power. But the way we give them power is by the emotion we attach to those thoughts. So we give them power by the emotion we attach to them. Now, this can be a constructive or destructive thing. Now, an example of a negatively charged thought is when we're driving in traffic and we get cut off by another driver. Now, you say to yourself, that idiot nearly hit my car. Who do they think they are? Do they think they own the road? They didn't even look when they changed road lanes, and you also start to attach a lot of emotion to it. I know what that is like. I used to, especially these days, there's so much, busyness and so much hustle and bustle in the world, especially on the road. You might have heard on the news, wherever you're living, I'm sure it's all over the world, these road rage problems that we're having on the roads. And this is just one example. So when we, driving in traffic and we get cut off and we, get that thought, who do they think they are? Do they own the road? He nearly hit my car. Imagine the inconvenience. Imagine if someone got injured or things like that. Now, this leads to a lot of negatively charged emotion in our mind and the body that we can carry with maybe for the next 10 minutes or an hour or all day, depending on how much emotional power that we add to this thought and how many thoughts of similar nature we add to that initial thought. Now, an example of a positively charged thought is when we drive along and we see a really nice car pull along the side of us. It triggers a thought within us that this is the sort of car I would like to have. I like the size, the color, the style of the car. It pulls away, and I notice the smooth power it applies as it drives away. And I think, now I want a car like that. How much can I get for my car? And so on and so on. And I give that thought a lot of positive energy. Who knows? I might end up owning a car like that if I keep going that way. So that is an example of a positively charged thought. And the more intensity and the more emotion we give that thought, the more we charge it either negatively or positively. Now, like I said, thoughts can be wandering, or they can be purposeful and focused. They can be positive and negative. They can be negatively or positively charged, depending how much emotion we give them. And the other thing with thoughts is they can be limiting or they can be expanding. Now, they can limit us or increase us. They can stretch us or hold us back. So we know, for example, if I think a thought, I can't do that, that basically stops me in my tracks. That stops me from having, that stops me. If I say I can't do it, I don't go any further with that. I don't explore any avenues of, how it can be done. I don't go and do any research. I don't, think about it anymore. The possibility is cut off right there. Now, if I say, I can do this, and you might start asking the question, well, how can I do this? Can I get help in this? Is there someone who's already done this that can show me how to do this? Is there a book that can, teach me about this or things like that? Now, the other side of the coin, I want to, add to this as well. Now, when I said, positively and negatively charged thoughts, just as you can empower thoughts, you can empower a thought by giving it either positive or negative energy. So a thought can empower us. In the above example I just used, where you say I can't do it, that's not an empowering thought. So that empowers you in a negative way. But if you say I can do this, that thought can empower you. Now, something that I noticed in that definitions that I gave earlier. So let's go back to those definitions of thought mentioned earlier in the Wikipedia and Merriam-Webster dictionary, where it says that thought can refer to the ideas or arrangements of ideas that result from thinking. And Merriam-Webster dictionary says that a thought is an idea, a plan, an opinion, a picture that is formed in your mind. Now let's just look at that for 1 minute. A thought is also said, according to these definitions, to be an idea, a plan, an opinion, or a picture. So when I think I can't do that, or he or she is too stupid to do that, we are forming an idea. We are forming an opinion of that particular circumstance, that particular situation, that particular subject, or that particular person. Now, we're also forming a picture in our minds as we think that thought. I know we are talking about thoughts here and not words, but if I said the word dog, what would you do? You would think of a dog. Now, when you think of a dog, would you see the letters D-O-G in your mind, or a thought, a picture of a dog, whatever breed or type that you most are familiar with? You would, of course, see a picture of a dog in your mind. Same as if I said car, house, horse, or whatever other word I might say. So if someone said to you or me, have you ever thought about flying a plane? Now, like me, you might not, or you might say, oh no, I couldn't do that. And the first thing that would come to mind is a picture of me in the aeroplane cockpit looking at the ocean as my plane is spiraling down with great speed to crash. Or what if someone said, have you ever thought of learning to sing or play guitar? Now, the first thing again that would come to my mind is a picture of me in front of hundreds of people, like one of those singing talent shows on TV, with me singing awkwardly and the judges squirming in their seats with strange looks on their faces and the audience laughing. Now, that's that's the the power of thoughts. We have to realize that thoughts can either empower us or they can disempower us. And if we think that a thought, can be looked at as an idea, or it can be looked at as an opinion, or something that's our mind, transforms into a picture, because the mind is an amazing thing. It does its own thing. It's there to serve us, but we have to make sure that we use it as a servant and not something that goes off on a tangent and creates things in our lives which we do not want to see manifested. So just to recap, I said it's thoughts come in two basic forms and categories: wandering and purposeful, and focused or controlled thoughts, or wandering thoughts, and they can be positive and negative. Our thoughts are charged with power. Now, it depends on the degree to which they are charged. Depends on the power that we give them, and we give them that power by the emotion that we attach to those thoughts. Now, I want to just finish this off by giving three keys to expanding and increasing the power and quality of our thoughts. I use the word keys. I don't like using the word keys or points, but this is just to make it easier. The first one is to monitor your thoughts. Be aware of what we are thinking, because this will take some work and focus in the beginning, but it will get easier as time goes on, because all day we think thoughts basically non-stop. And we think that most thoughts, they're pretty harmless, and we don't give them much thought. But as you'll see as we go on to the next point, that is just not the case. We are where we are, and we end up where we are because of our thoughts, and that's one of the reasons that a while back I decided to make a bit more focused and concentrated study on the mind, especially the subconscious mind. As you know, I've been producing these subliminal videos for a little while now. So our thoughts are very important, and a lot of people just they just think whatever thoughts are there, and one thought leads to another and to another and to another, and the more emotion we give that thought, the more power we give it, and that thought is going to take us in the direction of the picture that thought, whether consciously or subconsciously, is painting in our minds. The second key is to think. Now, the reason I say we need to think is that it's surprising how many people go through their day-to-day activities almost on autopilot, or how many people actually have an original thought or idea. In today's media and information saturated world, most people have their thoughts already arranged and determined by the opinions they get from the TV, radio, or any other form of media. Now, do we try and look like so and so? Are we doing things, working in jobs, living in areas because they look like cool things to do, cool places to live, cool clothes to wear because that's what the cool people on TV or magazines do and wear? Or do we do it because we really thought about it and decided that this thing or place suits me better? I am more comfortable in this. I am going to work in this job and I don't give a hoot what the cool people find fashionable right now. Or I am going to wear these clothes right now, and whether they're fashionable or not, or whether they're the norm of the society right now, I don't give a hoot. I'm going to do what I want to do, and because that's the only way, and that's the only thing that's going to make me happy. And when I'm happy, you know, I think there's more chance of me, interacting better with other people than trying to please everyone all the time. And so basically, we need to think because a lot of people, like I said, I believe they go through their day-to-day activities almost on autopilot. And I honestly wouldn't even use the word almost. I would use the word autopilot full stop. And like I asked earlier, I said, how many people actually have an original thought or idea? This is one thing that I sort of try to challenge myself with every day. Doesn't mean whether I succeed or not is not the issue. The thing is, I challenge myself to think. Now, if I get an original thought or idea, that's good. And people say, oh, there's nothing new under the sun. Well, I hasten, to challenge that. I hasten to challenge a lot of things in this world, to be honest with you. So a lot of people, I believe, are on autopilot in their day-to-day life. And like I said, most people have their thoughts already arranged and determined by the opinions they get from the TV, radio, or any other form of media. And that's why I sometimes, like to, if I hear something on one news channel, I like to go to the, I'll listen to it on, I listen to it on a, national broadcaster channel, or I go on the internet and look, read, 2, 3, 4 different newspapers to see, what they say about the same thing. Or I'll go to an alternative media site and see what their opinion of all of that is. Because just because it's something that's said on the TV or radio or in a magazine or in a newspaper, it does not mean that that came from the mouth of God. And believe me, a lot of things, a lot of things, if there is something that came from the mouth of God, I would love to hear it. But so we need to challenge a lot of things. We need to challenge these things on a day-to-day basis. And the other thing is, and this is a very important one, is number 3 is only give power to those thoughts you want to see materialized or manifested in your life. Now, I try to, go to the dictionary and synonyms and try to find something that's, I didn't want to use the word manifested because I don't want to put people off. I myself personally am not a New Age person. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I've read, many books over the years, and some of them, have included New Age books, and some of them have included books on New Thought and things like that, because I've read a lot of books. But just because I read a medical dictionary or a medical book doesn't make me a doctor, or I read the Bible doesn't make me a Christian. In the same way, because I read a New Age book or use a New Age term does not make me a New Age person. But then again, there is nothing wrong with New Age or New Age people. Like anything, we might go on tangents a little bit, but that happens with every religion and that happens with every thought. So, that aside, Number 3, the key is only give power to those thoughts you want to see materialized or manifested in your life. Now, that's why it's important to monitor our thoughts and make sure they're aligned with what we want to see expressed or manifested in our lives. And to only attach power, only empower and give power to those thoughts that we know are going to empower us and make our lives more productive, more prosperous, healthier, more expanding, more loving, more joyful, and to give power to those thoughts. Now, like I said, how do we give power to those thoughts? We give power to those thoughts by the emotion we attach to them. There's, for example, during the day, I do a few affirmations. That's, I just, say during the day, or I might listen to one of the videos on YouTube, trading affirmation videos. And when I say them, or when I actually say them myself, I try to attach as much feeling as I can. For example, one of the trading affirmations might be, I make huge trading profits on a continuous basis, and I give that as much feeling as I can. I make huge trading profits on a continuous basis. I am a successful trader. I trade to win. I am a very knowledgeable trader. I am a very disciplined trader, and try to give that as much feeling as you can. And you only need to say one affirmation, 10, 15 times. You don't have to say it for the next 2 hours. Just say one affirmation 10, 15 times, or get 2 or 3 or 5, but don't stand there for 2 hours saying it. Just say it, 5 times each, or 10 times each, or 15, 20 times each, and that's enough. But say it with feeling, and say it if you can once or twice a day. But if you can, try and do it on a daily basis, or if you miss a day, doesn't matter. Or if you're doing something in the background, put a video on, a YouTube video, or a CD with the trading affirmations, and let your subconscious mind soak that during the day. What I'm trying to say is that we give power to those thoughts that we want to see materialized or manifested in our life. So I'll just recap those 3 keys again. The first one, monitor your thoughts. Monitor your thoughts to start with, because on a daily basis, and try to monitor them. And then think. Don't just let thoughts. This is what I've been trying to do lately. Is just not, something happens on the TV. They say something, and that sets off, many other thoughts. I try to think, okay, where do I want this thought to go? Am I going to give this thought any power? Am I going to attach any emotion to this thought? And sometimes I just try to cut it off. Like, for example, when you're in the traffic and you get cut off, you might get an initial angry thought. But it's amazing if you just don't. If you realize, hang on, I'm getting a bit upset or a little bit angry, just try to draw a bit of power away from that thought, or try to think about a different thought. Think, oh, hang on, where am I going? Oh, that's right, I'm looking forward to going, going there, or things like that. Or think, oh, it's Thursday today, tomorrow is Friday, or today's Friday, tomorrow is the weekend, or something like that. You'll be amazed that once you go on a different tangent with your thoughts, the original thought that made you angry, later on, it'll be completely gone. You'll never think that thought again. And the third thing is, of course, to only give power to those thoughts that we want to see materialized or manifested in our life. Now, I hope this helped a little bit. Probably a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I hope this helps, because this is something that that I've been trying to implement in my daily life as well. So until next time, happy trading, and great success to you all. Bye.